Logan, what did you do?
All right, thanks everyone for coming out. Today, Dave and I are going to talk about the comic book movies from 2017. We're going to talk about each one in the order that they came out, and then we're each going to rank them in worst to best, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good countdown.
Even though worst isn't really a good term, because I think even the lowest movie on my rankings this year I liked, but it was a very fine year for comic book movies.
It was a good year. I agree. So we'll start with Logan. Logan, excellent movie. Hugh Jackman's last performance, although I hear it's not anymore.
Well, that's just a rumor at this point. And I think it was the perfect farewell to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. You know, he played it for 17 years, and it was kind of an offshoot of Old Man Logan. And, I mean, everything about that movie was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, the girl who played X-23, I cannot remember her name to save my life, but she was tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
It was R-rated. I mean, it really showed the violent side of Wolverine, which I think was really missing in some of the other films, because I think the Wolverine films have been pretty hit or miss coming up to here. I thought the Wolverine was really good. Wolverine Origins was terrible.
I liked Wolverine Origins. Call me crazy. I liked the Gambit's part.
You're crazy.
It
You
didn't
like
cover
Deadpool
everything.
too?
Oh, I love Deadpool, of course.
In that movie, you liked Deadpool.
Oh, well, I didn't hate him. Let's say that. It was much better in the new version, in Deadpool movie. But in that movie, I was like, that's just kind of like a tip of the hat to me, and I liked it.
I liked
But
him.
at the end, no way. I didn't like that at all.
I liked in Deadpool when he said, "Don't sew my mouth shut. People won't like it."
That was awesome. Yes. So, me, I don't know what else. It's set in 2029, so it still could fit into the MCU timeline.
It definitely could, and I think that's we talked about this before. I think the only regret Hugh Jackman has playing Wolverine is he was never in the MCU. So, with the rumor that he might show up in Avengers 4 once all of the legalities wrinkle out from the Disney buyout of Fox, maybe he will. That'd be great. I'd love to see him, but
That'd be kick ass. I'd love it.
After all these years, I've found you.
And who the hell are you?
I'm your dad, Peter.
all right. Next on the list is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yes.
I think Dave and I both agree this was awesome. I loved it. I think James Gunn just really has a stranglehold on these characters, does a great job. It's funny, it's relevant. I mean, everything about 1 and 2 that he did is just perfect in my eyes.
I heard some complaints about he used the same elements in the second one as he did in the first one. I don't care. It all worked. Wherever he did that, it worked, and all the jokes landed, and you get really the sense and feel of each character's attitude and the whole plot. All the little things that happened in the movie added up to the end in the plot. Like when he stole the batteries in the beginning, you don't think much of it, but it ended up being the thing that killed Ego. I mean, it's just brilliant to me.
Yep, tremendous writing, tremendous acting. Everything about it was good. I mean, even going into this movie, I was worried about Baby Groot because all you heard about is how cute he is. But it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was. I have nothing bad to say about this movie. Loved it.
Baby Groot was still a not to be trifled with.
Yes, when he was angry.
Yeah. And what's the theory that Groot is a god now? But we'll get into that in some other.
Yeah, he's the Asgard tree, the tree of life.
Yeah. So
Whether that's true or not,
some other time. That's not this conversation. But yes, excellent movie.
Okay, next up on the list is Wonder Woman.
Yes.
I think this is the movie I saw most at the theater. I thought it was great. We saw it that Thursday night preview. Patty Jenkins did a great job with this character. Best movie in the DCEU so far.
If they could start right there, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% behind that.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, who I didn't like when they cast her, totally became Wonder Woman to me in that movie.
Yep, I
The
agree.
No Man Land scene where she's out there and they're firing at her, she's blocking it off. That was just,
Yeah.
tremendous scene. Best scene in a movie, and I really hope a lot of the DC directors take note of what she did, because that was a great comic book movie.
It was the fullest plot out of all of them, and some of the characters were, I didn't like, but they didn't really hurt the movie. Like there's that one guy who was to shoot and they couldn't shoot.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, it didn't bother me that he wasn't there. So the rest of it, I enjoyed that whole movie. I saw it 3 times.
But who will sing to us, Charlie?
I guess Charlie will have to sing because he
Because
can't
he
shoot.
can't shoot, yeah.
The illegal weapons barrier was at 2:30. You missed it.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
So don't mess with me.
Now, SpiderMan Homecoming. To me, the best Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2. I really loved it. I think Tom Holland is great as Spider-Man. Michael Keaton as the Vulture was just spot on. And, one of the things I think they did, which I liked, he was in jail at the end. He didn't die. And which could set up, him coming back, part of the Sinister Six. He knows Peter's secret. Mm-hmm. I think it all worked. Having Iron Man in there scared me at first because, he's in almost every MCU movie, but it all worked together. He was kind of that mentor to Spider-Man. Robert Downey Jr. always does a great job. All around, tremendous Spider-Man movie, but for me, still wasn't as good as Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, there was no Uncle Ben. That was his role. Iron Man took that role from him. I liked it. It was definitely the best Spider-Man for me. But it still didn't blow me away. I'd still give it like 7.5 out of 10. That's not to say it wasn't a great movie. I just didn't. It didn't blow me away like the Guardians did. Type of thing.
No, I agree 100%. I loved it. I liked it a lot, but it wasn't one of those where I was like, man, I have to see it again right away.
Right.
Where I met you.
Asgard is dead. And it'll be reborn in my image. I thought you'd be glad to see me.
All right, now we're going to talk about Thor Ragnarok, best Thor movie ever.
Definitely.
I think they took a lot of chances with this movie, a lot of jokes. They were fast and furious, but there was also some heavy stakes in the movie. I know a lot of people complain saying, "Oh, the stakes weren't very high." I mean, Asgard was destroyed.
Yeah, that's a pretty big stake.
And maybe it didn't play out in that movie, but I think it's going to have consequences in Infinity War and going forward. And Kate Blanchett as Hela was just off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, who's going to come back in Infinity War. I can't wait to see her because she was tremendous.
I did not know that. That's cool.
I saw that it was confirmed one of these days, so she'll be there. That's just awesome. I really liked, the whole Planet Hulk part of the movie worked. They were able to incorporate that into this movie. It was great. I mean, for me, there was no bad points to this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Like I said back in the day, it was just the jokes that weren't landing, but the overall plot and character development, I liked the whole thing. Definitely, like you said, the best Thor movie. We got some new characters in there that are going to be, they might even have their own movies, like Korg, and he might get his own movie. That's what I heard anyway. It'd be interesting, and
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Let's do it. All right.
All right, next up, we're going to talk about Justice League. I did like this movie. The direction they took with Superman I liked, more in line with my Superman, the one I'd like to see. There was some poor CGI with Steppenwolf, but I think overall it was a good movie. The beginning was a little muddled without them all coming together, but I did. It was a good movie.
yeah, I maintain my same rating as I did the night I saw it. 5.5. It's better than I expected, but to me it doesn't really save it. There's still a lot of stuff that needed to be more in depth. The developing of Aquaman and Cyborg especially, but Gal Gadot, great job. I thought she brought the whole movie up, and then Flash was really good. And the way they portrayed Superman as a lot more positive character was a very big step forward. But I want to say something about Steppenwolf. In my opinion, maybe they were trying to beat Marvel to the punch as far as the CGI thing goes. He's like a Thanos type of thing, because Thanos is not out yet. He's just in bit roles so far. Maybe they were trying to beat them with that. I don't know, but that's just a thought I had.
Yeah, maybe. It's always a possibility. You know, I know they compete against each other all the time, so you know, maybe Marvel brought Thanos in early after, you know, the post-credit scene in Avengers to beat them the dark side. So definitely a possibility. Okay, and finally, the last movie we're going to talk about today before we do our rankings is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. If you watched our spoiler-filled review, you know this is very polarizing, not just between fans, but between Dave and I. I still loved it. I think it was great. I loved the direction they went into. I wasn't expecting a lot of it, so it was nice seeing that. Once again, you know, great Star Wars film.
Great Star Wars film if it had started at Episode 7. If they had started with a clean slate without Luke and Han and Chewie and Leia, if they had started clean, I admit it could have been a great Star Wars movie. To me, you still got those characters in there. They still got to be themselves. They weren't themselves in this movie, and I was very disappointed in it.
All right, now I am going to rank these movies from worst to best. Coming in at number 7 is Justice League. Once again, I enjoyed it, but just a strong crop of comic book movies, so it definitely comes in at 7. 6, Spider-Man Homecoming. Best Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2, but still doesn't compare to some of the other movies coming out. Number 5, I have Thor Ragnarok. Number 4, I have Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 2, I have Wonder Woman. And then number 1 is Logan. I mean, this movie is just beyond belief. The send-off they gave to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Possibly.
Yeah.
If we see him in Avengers 4, it'll still be a great movie, but I just love what they did with it. You know, the R rating, you know, that was Wolverine.
Yeah, that was pure cut. Okay, and my top 7, it was definitely a good year for all these movies. There's only 2 of them that I really didn't like, which were number 7 would be Star Wars, counting down. 6, Justice League. Now the rest are, I like all the rest of them. It's just hard to place them, except for the top one was really easy for me. But the rest of them are all like kind of right there, you know. So Spider-Man, then Wonder Woman, number 3, Ragnarok, number 2, Logan, and number 1, Guardians.
Can't go wrong. I mean, we really had a great year for movies, and I'm very happy with all the movies that came out.
I'm really looking forward to next year, and how about next week we do some...
Most anticipated for 2018?
That's a good idea.
Awesome. Great idea. So stay tuned for that, and if you like what you see, please hit subscribe and like, and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody.